In this video, we're going to be reviewing the main points of performance for a deadlift or a hip hinge. Specifically the bilateral stance, so both legs on the ground, both legs have weight. Deadlift, both RDLs and deadlifts from the floor. So the main points of performance that we're going to be focusing on is, first of all, maintaining your foot contacts, specifically staying heavier on the front side of the foot, so the ball of your big toe. Now in squats, remember we are a little bit heavier on our heel. Deadlifts, I want to be heavier in the front of my feet because if we are propelling ourselves away from the floor, that's going to make it easier to access posterior chain if I'm a little bit heavier on the front. The second thing is I want to stay over top of the bar as I'm doing a hinge. A lot of times, many people will kind of get themselves behind the bar too far, whether it's when they're setting up or throughout the lift. And when that happens, a lot of things have to turn on to stop you from falling on your ass. So if I want to make sure I maintain my foot contact and that helps me stay over top of the bar, that'll make sure I'm pushing straight through the floor and the bar will just rise straight vertically, straight back down. Final point is just going to be maintaining a neutral spine. So whatever position your spine starts in, I want it to stay as close to that as we can throughout the lift. I don't want any big changes in motion as you're going through the lift or as you're starting to create tension on the bar. Now, what I'm mostly looking for with a deadlift is we're looking for our pelvis to be moving straight back and straight forward is the general idea. That's what makes it a hip hinge. We should be getting a lot of load through our glutes and our hamstrings. We can bias more glute or more hamstring based on our knee position. How much your knees bend during a deadlift is going to depend on the variation you're doing, what your target muscles are, as well as how wide your feet are. So we'll kind of review each of those things throughout this video. Again, all of these exercises I'm going to show you all have the same points of performance though. Maintain foot contacts with bias towards the front of your foot. Make sure we're moving pelvis back and forth, and that way we're staying over top of the bar. And then finally maintain a neutral spine. That's the same concepts that happen all the time. So just a static hip hinge, what you're going to be doing is find main points of contact on your feet, heel, pinky toe, big toe. I'm going to bias that weight a little bit more towards the front of my foot. So if my knees relax, I'm just going to kind of like shift my weight forward a little bit. And now I feel heavier towards the front of my foot. My goal now is to maintain that throughout this motion. Sometimes I like just have my hands on my hips as I do this. Like I said, I'm trying to keep my knees right where they're at, nice and relaxed. Keep my weight in the front of my foot. I'm just going to focus on trying to push my hips straight behind me. Imagine somebody's karate chopping you at the hip crease here. Straight hips are going straight back. Once I hit a kind of a spot of resistance where I feel some nice tension through the entire back of my leg, I'm going to pause. I'm just going to push through the floor to come back up. Key thing here is the hips are the main thing that is moving. That's what makes it a hip hinge. What I don't want to see is I'm starting here. This is the common thing people will do. I am no longer on the front of my feet. This makes it very hard to load this stuff and instead makes it just hamstrings and back that had to do all the work. So I want to make sure to keep my knees relaxed and keep weight through the front of my feet as I shift back. And again, that keeps the weight nice and balanced over my feet and the bar right underneath me if I was holding weight. And same thing as I stand up. As I push through the ground, I want to make sure I maintain this position of my feet. A lot of times people will turn this into a little bit of a hips, knees extend really fast, and again, it's going to get a lot of hamstring and low back involved in order to stand you up. So I want to make sure I keep my knees relaxed and focusing on driving my hips forward to stand up through the motion.